people, and he's a doofus,
Or they're
mate.
getting ready. Do you want to go live, Ben? I'll do my monologue. Well, it just had to be, didn't it? When the draw took place on Saturday night, there really was going to be one result. A blockbuster, a derby, and these two sides can really turn it on when it matters most. In grand finals, both Hamilton Olympic and Broadmeadow have won once each when they've met in the decider. And in the cup competition, this is about as close as it gets. On neutral territory, the scene is set perfectly at the most famous suburban ground in Newcastle, Adamstown Oval. And it's Broadmeadow who hold the upper hand in this rivalry recently. The Broadmeadow boys have won 5 of the last 6 derbies, but that will matter little tonight. And there'll be plenty of spice too, with the tension aplenty after that controversial round 10 victory. So strap yourselves in tonight for a cracker. This is simply what we love about cup football. 2 rivals going head to head. One moves on, one goes home. And there's no bigger rivalry in northern New South Wales football than this one. Time to have a look at the team news for Hamilton Olympic. Pete McGuinness, he makes 2 changes from the side who beat Edgeworth 3-2 on Saturday. Blake Green is in, as is Leo Bertos, who returns from coaching. Scott Pennant, he's out. That's a huge move. And Jed Hornery, who is playing up top, he's also out. For Broadmeadow Magic, Ruben Zadkovic makes just the 1 change from their win against Adamstown. They won 3-0 in round 6. Charlie Cox comes out of the middle of the park and he's replaced by Justin Broadley. The weather tonight at Adamstown Oval, it's a chilly 13 degrees. 11 kilometres now the wind from the northwest, so that'll be favouring Hamilton Olympic in the blue in this first 45 minutes. Referee for tonight's match is Stephen Laurie. He refereed the grand final last year between Edgeworth and Lambton. And both coaches for Pete McGuinness at Hamilton. After Olympic's worst start to the season, he's turned it around. They've won 6 of their last 7. And for Magic and Ruben Zadkovic, he looks to make it to the round of 32 in the FFA Cup for a 2nd straight season after they made it through last year. So we're all set and ready to go. Cup nights in northern New South Wales don't get much better than this, and it's Broadmeadow Magic who get us underway. And boys, we just simply love nights when Hamilton take on Broadmeadow.
Oh, absolutely we do, and we've had some crackers over the last few years that we've been doing this, boys and Smudge. How much fun is this to see Hamilton Olympic up against the side, Broadmeadow Magic, the clubs, the rivalry. They just love it. They love to beat each other. They love to win, and they hate to lose.
Oh, exactly. And you remember in the NPL, just last round, there was a controversial goal towards the end, and there was a bit of Facebook messages online between the clubs, which is going to stir the pot a little bit tonight. There'll be a lot of feeling out here, and both sides are informed, like you said at your monologue, Bart, that Magic were undefeated in, 8 or so?
9 matches, Magic, unbeaten in their last 9, and for Hamilton Olympic, they've won 6 of their last 7 after winning just 1 of their first 6. It's been a ginormous turnaround.
Yeah, so they're both informed, so this is going to be a very tight and interesting contest. I just think for Olympic, they can't concede early. This year they've conceded silly goals in crucial parts of the game, and they've been on the back foot. So very important for them. They keep their defence nice and tight. They've got Scott Pettit missing and Jed Hornery, who were both fantastic against Edgeworth on the weekend. Jed's on the bench. I think he's a little bit injured, so he's on the bench. They're only going to use him if necessary, and Scott Pettit's been ruled out.
And fascinating that Broadmeadow Magic tonight have 9 players with round of 32 FFA Cup experience. Hamilton, they did have 1 with Scott Pettit. Not anymore with him out of the side now. Simon Mooney trying to get goal side of John Griffiths. He's too experienced for that. And Paul Bitts gets an early touch. He's looking to make it through to the nationwide stage for the very first time. The Broadmeadow keeper this season. He's been with Charlestown and Adamstown the last few seasons, who haven't made it through. It's been pretty much Edgeworth and Lambton and Magic that have been the 3 clubs. They're the only 3 clubs from Northern to have made the round of 32. Magic 3 times, Olympic none.
Well, he's just looking at Magic's shape at the moment. Here's
a turnover to Cale Bradbury, I should say James Vigili. Here's Dino Fajkovic trying to weave his way through, gets a little tug. We may see an early card come out here. We do, as Dino Fadjevic almost wriggled his way through the middle of Hamilton's defence. He hasn't scored since that FFA Cup match last year against Moreton Bay, and he was almost in on goal there.
This one, Smudge, perfect distance out to strike a ball. If anything, maybe a fraction close for the wall, but that's only a fraction, and this sets up a great opportunity for Broadmeadow Magic here. This allows you to pick your spot, really, from this range, and here Tyler Warren needs to be absolutely at full stretch, because this should, if it goes on target, be very, very difficult to stop being at this range.
Yeah, Oxborough's, he's licking his lips at this one. I think it's a tad too close for his liking, however, it's perfect range for him.
All we've seen is only a lead goal. It came from a little bit further back from this, from a free kick about this angle, and Oxborough hits it straight into the apex.
Well, as said, it just needed to be on target.
Still opportunity there for Magic as Virgili went for the flick on, but wow, all it had to do, as you said, CT, was be on target. It was in. Tyler Warren was nowhere near it there. And now Hamilton quickly trying to turn defence into attack, but an offside will prevent them doing that. Smudge, just tell us how these two sides are shaping up.
Yeah, I was just going to comment just before there was a turnover at the back for Olympic, which nearly resulted in a goal to Magic. But Magic last NPL game I seen them play, they're playing 4 at the back, but they reverted back to their 5 at the back, which they've been playing for probably the last 6 or so weeks prior to that, to really lock up their defence. They've got an absolutely brilliant attack in their front 3, plus Johnny Madge on the bench. So they're playing with like a 5-2-3, so 5 across the back, 2 sitting in right, 2 screening the front back, and 3 up front. So they're going to really try and stretch the game for Olympic, where Olympic's playing more of a custom or a traditional 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, which I think they'll nullify each other out, especially in the midfield. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the game pans out.
Here's Leo Burtos with a touch. Of course, he missed the round 6 match against Edgeworth. He was coaching up on the North Coast, but back for tonight's huge fixture. Here's Tom Davies bombing forward, whipping it in. Just getting back there was John Griffiths to put it over for a corner. A nervy moment, but Tom Davies not afraid to get forward there. Hasn't scored a goal in over 80 matches in NPL level. He's been getting fairly high the last few weeks. Almost scored against Western in round 11 in the NPL. How's Burtos' delivery? Whips it in. Josh Piddington with a strong header away. He knows what it's like in these big matches. He's played in all of Broadmeadow's round of 32 fixtures against Brisbane Strikers, Heidelberg, and then last year against Moreton Bay. All 3 defeats for Broadmeadow in the round of 32. The only northern club to have actually won in that round was Edgeworth a couple of years ago against North Queensland Heat. Here's Burtos down in the corner. He gets dropped, and they will get the free kick. It'll be more like a corner from that kind of range and angle.
Boys, you can tell Magic's intention straight away. Oxborough got the ball, tried to transition really quick to their front 2 or front 3 at the moment. That's what Magic's very good at. They've got pace up front, and they'll try and transition from defence to attack really, really quickly and try and spread and find the gap holes in Olympics defence.
I've got Mooney hovering it around in the box, as is Blake Green, and Pappas. Of course, Pappas scored from a header against Edgeworth, and Mooney's gone down. Here's the volley from McGuinness. It's just
Mooney
flashed wide, and Simon Mooney's not in a good way.
He's in trouble. You will not see him go down unless he's in trouble. I'm confident he's in a world of hurt there, and it looks maybe his knee. Smudge, I don't know whether you...
I can't see from this distance, even though I have got my spectacles on. Yeah, it looked like he was clutching his knee. It looked like someone jumped in the back of him as he was trying to raise, and unless his knee buckled. Unfortunately, we haven't got replays right in front of us.
Terrible for Simon Mooney. He scored 5 goals in his last 3 NPL games. He didn't score on the weekend in the Cup. He hasn't actually opened his account in the Cup so far this season, but he's been prolific in the NPL. Scored against Magic back in round 10. A very nice goal at that as well, and this would be a terrible loss for them, especially after Scott Pettit was ruled out.
But he's definitely in trouble here, and this is not good for Simon Mooney, and it's not good for Olympic.
Mate, he's a tough player. He never goes down, this guy. And the thing about Simon Mooney, he has been scoring a lot of goals, but it's his work rate and work ethics. off the ball has been second to none. He played he played a little bit wider on the weekend, so he didn't have really too many scoring opportunities. But yeah, as he's been playing the number 9 role for Olympic during the NPL, he's been superb. He's knocked in quite a few goals, and this is very sad for Simon Mooney.
Yeah, it sure is, and we've got his parents, Tim and Lynn Mooney, just close on hand, and they're looking very, very cautiously and closely to see what's happening with Simon. And as you say, Smudge, this is not good news for him.
It looks like he's putting weight through it, which is always a bonus, but he's very gingerly, and like I said, for Simon, for him to go and clutch his knees straight away, he must have heard something. So hopefully it's not as bad as an ACL, but we'll have to wait and see.
And Hamilton have got to do something here, which they wouldn't have wanted to, with Jed Hornery, who has been under an injury cloud coming into this match. He's been sent out there, so it'll be interesting to see how everything pans out for him. He's been great for them this season. 2 goals in the FFA Cup, including the one against Edgeworth on Saturday and a couple in the NPL.
Yeah, just on Jed Hornery, talking to Coach Pete McGuinness prior to the game, they didn't really want to play him tonight because he's had a niggle and hamstring injury over the past few weeks. He's just finally got back, and then he sort of niggled again on the weekend against Edgeworth. So he got substituted with about 20 to go, and they weren't going to use him unless they had to tonight, but unfortunately they have to.
Now we'll try and bring you scores as well tonight from that other match between Lambton and Charlestown, that one taking place up at Lower Car Oval in Charlestown. It's Mitch Oxborough standing over the free kick. Hit the post earlier and whips it in. May fall across the face. Was behind John Griffiths and also Fajkovic. And now here's Reece Cooper. His pass has gone astray straight to James Virgili. Magic look to build it up from the back.
Just on Oxborough's delivery there, that was second to none, wasn't it? Nice swerving ball in.
Yeah, it's such a dangerous ball that he delivers into the box, and see the impact it had last year and again.
Yeah, for Mitch Oxborough this campaign, he came back in round 9 against the Jets Youth, scored 2 goals immediately. Hasn't scored since for them, but just the influence, the assists that he provides as well, especially for the speedy frontmen of Bradbury and Virgili. Here is Luke Virgili, scored on the weekend against Adamstown, a rare goal for him.
Just on Magic there, Carl Bradbury's just tucked in. I'd like to see him a little bit wide because Magic's playing 3 at the back. You're not going to see left stopper Luke Virgili overlap Bradbury on the left-hand side. He won't lose his base, leave his base, sorry. So I'd like to see Magic just spread the front 3, spread a bit wider, spread the back 4 of Olympic. That's going to create holes.
And the other thing there, Smudge, is spread them, absolutely, but also bring them in, just keep them guessing, compact in.
Here's James Virgili trying to tee up Cale Bradbury and quickly turns and he fired it straight at Tyler Warren. The clearance wasn't convincing, and in the end it's going to be a goal kick. He scored in 4 consecutive FFA Cup matches, Cale Bradbury. That's dating back to last year.
And again, Magic on the quick transition through Virgili. Beautiful cross into Bradbury, and Bradbury unlucky not to put it away. That's where Magic's very dangerous. Their front 3 are lethal.
Yeah, they sure are. And just on that, what it's saying is they stretch them wide, but also at times play a little compact to make the defence guess.
Here's Reece Cooper. There's Jed Hornery in the middle and Blake Green as well at the back post, but he just moved towards the corner by Luke Virgili. Tries to go around him. Here's McGuinness in again. Just misses the head of Blake Green, who couldn't quite get the purchase on the ball. A few former late Macquarie players out there on both sides. Justin Broadley for Magic and Blake Green for Hamilton Olympic of recent years. Both were there last year. And Anthony Richards, former Lakes coach, now assistant at Broadmeadow Magic. There's Tom Davies to Kyle Hodges, the veteran centre-back for Hamilton Olympic, striding forward. Blake Green, it's under his control. How's the delivery? It's pretty good. And Jed Hornery got his head to it. Couldn't quite angle it past Paul Bitts.
Well played by Olympic. Good possession play, nice and wide. Nice ball out to Blake Green. And beautiful cross in, but Jed Hornery just unlucky with the header.
And that header wasn't too bad either. I mean, he got a little piece on it, got it on target. Just a good save.
After the loss of Mooney, you feel Olympic have dealt with that fairly well. The change.
Yeah, well, it's like for like, isn't it, in the number 9 role? But I'd still love to have Mooney out there, either in a wide capacity or even at the number 9, because he's a menace and he's scoring goal. And he's their leading goal scorer as well, Hamilton Olympics.
Well, their top 2 goal scorers from the season, both not out there now. With Pettit out injured tonight and Mooney now leaving the park just minutes in. So it's a huge blow. Shane Paul gets felled. So another free kick within range. Not for a strike on goal for Mitch Oxborough with the left boot, but we are to try and put it towards the head of a teammate. Here's Oxborough. There's the back post. There's Josh Piddington flowing through there.
Wouldn't be the normal place that you'd expect a delivery to go in, but if he meant that, it caused some problems. So, you know, he's very, very dangerous on these set pieces.
Oh, there's a nutmeg on Cal Bradbury from Tom Davies. Not sure how much he knew about it. Here's Matt Hoole. Now Virgili. Bradbury almost brought it under his control, but a heavy first touch. Now Leo Burtos sees the run of Jed Hornery, and John Griffiths has to get on his bike. And he's able to evade John Griffiths, Jed Hornery. What a run this is. Amazing run from Hornery. He's had some impact since he's come on the park. Distinct wide to Cooper. In the end, it'll just be a goal kick.
Yeah, great run by Jed Hornery, but well defended by Josh Pennington. Josh Pennington knew he was going to drag the ball. He sort of positioned his body so causing Jed Hornery to drag the ball, and well defended by Josh Pennington, Magic's captain.
Both captains, key men for each side at the back. Kyle Hodges for Hamilton Olympic and Josh Piddington for Magic. You could probably say those two, the heart, the beating heart of each of these two sides. Here is Josh Piddington. He was actually sent off in that round of 32 FFA Cup match in 2014 against Brisbane Strikers. Smudge, you were actually on the bench, weren't you, for that game?
Yeah, Glenn Chapman was coach, and he asked me to. I was actually the physio. They needed a physio on the bench, so I was a qualified physio, so I actually sat on the bench to help him out. But
it was a great night, wasn't it?
Great night, yep. Chris Bowling, the Jets goalkeeper coach, was also sent off, unsurprisingly.
I have watched the highlights of that game back, and it was interesting. You could probably argue he could get away with that. A little push. He tried to, at least.
He's a character, and he's done a fantastic job with the Jets goalkeepers, getting them all the way to the grand final.
No, he has. He's done a superb job. There's Luke Virgili. Well, Reece Cooper almost threaded the pass through for Shane Paul there for a moment. Here's Cooper. Great first touch. Gets a little clip from Luke Virgili. Reece Cooper just recently come back from the Intercontinental Club World Cup in futsal over in Spain.
You'll agree here, CT. Reece Cooper, number 10, just trying to get in those pockets, in those little pockets in front of the back three of Magic. If he can get in those pockets, find some space, turn and run at plays, he's going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely he is. And that's where he can be dangerous, definitely, because he's hard to pick up. When you've got players running from deep, we've spoken about this before, it's just a difficult thing to defend against.
Here's Leo Burtos. Didn't quite get the height to dip it up and over the Magic defensive line. There's the ball dinked towards the back post, but straight into the arms of Paul Bitts. Cody Lucas just couldn't quite find the range there.
Just on Paul Bitts, the Magic's goalkeeper, he's growing more and more confident as the games tick along. This is the first time he's ever been at a big club like Broadmeadow Magic. It was at Adamstown last year, and he's just growing with confidence, with probably the most clean sheets and the best defensive record Magic have in the local NPL.
Yeah, most clean sheets in the competition.
And last week he done a crucial save against Sam Walker in the NPL to deny an equaliser.
And Ryan Clark as well, the week before against Maitland in about the 91st minute.
And it's exactly what you need as a keeper with confidence, because if you've got that, it sets up a good foundation.
Here's Jed Hornery. Now Leo Burtos. Magic just dropping off him a touch. He's got men around him. Tom Davies making the overlapping run. Josh Piddington just couldn't quite prevent it from crossing the line for a corner kick.
It's good to see Tom Davies doing the overlapping run, but I've just noticed in the past 10 or so minutes, Olympic aren't committing numbers forward, especially their back line, because they don't want to get caught on transition. Smart play by McGuinness here. He's keeping his 4 players at the back, 3 to 4 players at the back constantly, because that's where Magic got him last time, onto that quick transition.
Yeah, these two sides last met a few weeks ago in round 10 in the NPL, and Magic won 4-2. A lot closer than that scoreline suggested. Piddington clears it away. Magic's final goal was very controversial because Kyle Hodges, that man on the ball, was tending to Dino Fajkovic, who was down in Hamilton's end of the ground, and Magic didn't stop play, continued on and scored. As you mentioned, Smudge, probably 5 minutes or so ago, there was plenty of Facebook, I wouldn't say banter, there was a bit of frustration.
Great ball.
Here's the run down the flank, dinked in by Green, but it's going to be well blocked.
I don't know if frustration was the correct word as well. It was
Well,
firm discussions.
Plenty of frustration
and point of views
from Kyle Hodges. I heard he was still frustrated 2 weeks after the event as well.
But you know what? They're all good mates. They go for a beer after the game, and it's like everyone in the NPL up here. Everyone's quite tight.
Still in the heat of the battle, he was not a happy man.
One dinked up and over the top and just misses. Yeah, but it was Jake McGuinness actually, I think, at the back post. Reese Pappas, sorry, it was. The bright yellow boots. Scored from the header on Saturday.
Just had a message from my good mate Chris Bowling. He can't believe I said unsurprisingly sent off. He got sent off. I've seen him get sent off kicking the ball away when the opposition was about to take a penalty.
Well, such a nice human. You couldn't imagine that he would get sent off, Smudge. And I don't know where that comments come from with your bolo.
He's actually been sent off the golf course as well. So anyway, we'll leave it there.
What,
might have hit it
for playing badly? Or?
No, probably driving too long.
There's Justin Broadley. I'd get sent off the golf course for that. Not driving too long, playing badly. CT.
Yeah, that's certain.
Here's the ball knocked in. Reese Pappas. Clearance away. Now Cooper. Well, he almost got his pocket picked by Broadley, but all fell straight into the leg of Jacob Bailey.
Yeah, that's what Broadley needs to do because he's playing in that deep midfield role, just screening the back 3 for Magic or 3 to 5. Yeah, Cooper's finding a few pockets just in front of the back 3, so he probably needs to just stick tight to him and allow Oxborough a bit more free space.
Luke Vigili. Over the top, it runs past Kyle Hodges. Little slip. Now Fajkovic. Out on the flank. Squared back to Oxborough, takes on the strike, but wasn't travelling as fast as he would have liked, and not the accuracy either. Yeah,
that was a good defensive unit, or well structured by Hamilton Olympic. They really closed the ball down well, didn't give Magic any space, and when Oxborough got on the ball, which is deadly from 25 yards out, they put pressure on him and he skewed his shot. So that was well played, good defensive structure by Olympic. Just see Magic's back line's very deep, a lot of space in midfield. If Olympic could rotate the midfield a little bit, get in and out of space, a lot of space to be played, especially for Reese Cooper, just pulling off into the pockets a little bit.
It's been a fairly even opening to this match. It's past the 20-minute mark, and either side with a great opportunity up to this point. Spurtos just dinks it around for Cooper. That's a great early ball. And John Griffiths, Johnny on the spot, as he always is. He just reads the play so well.
And that came from Reese Cooper. We just said before, he just needs to rotate a little bit in midfield. He found some space, got the ball, played it out to Burtos. A good one too, Burtos and Cooper. Great ball in. He had cover from Vigili, but wasn't quick enough. Great ball in by Cooper, and yeah, well defended by Magic.
Burtos again towards the back post. Cooper was there along with McGuinness. Here's Reese Pappas. Just fell for him. Tried to dink it in. Feels for handball against Oxborough. Now Burtos couldn't quite find the range with the ball in. Great to have your company tonight. It's round 7 of the FFA Cup, live on Bar TV Sports. Ben Homer, Damien Smith, Chris Turner with you in commentary this evening. The other match, Lambton up against Charlestown. And I'm just checking, that one's still 0-0 as well. You can catch that one with Q and Graham Law up there, Cook's Hill coach. So 2 big matches on tonight in the FFA Cup. So Bertos, the path of Hornery. Couldn't quite find the pass back to Leo Bertos. I was just about to say, gee, he's been good since he's come on, Jed Hornery, but decided not to.
It was just like your commentator's curse on the weekend, just saying that Edgeworth have not conceded at this ground in a round 6 or 7 FFA Cup game. Within 10 seconds, they conceded.
Yep, exactly. Happens regularly. Well, here's Shane Paul with the throw. He actually scored for Broadmeadow in their round 7 match against Coff City last year. They were actually really struggling in that match. It was 0-0 approaching half-time, and Shane Paul, well, it was actually 0-0 at half-time, and Shane Paul scored just after the break. And then James Virgili added a couple to make it 3-1 in the end. Magic have never lost a round 7 match in the FFA Cup. 3 from 3. Hamilton in their second match tonight, they lost to Lambton a few years ago, 3-2 in 2016.
Over the last recent weeks, McGuinness has been playing a really high back four for Hamilton Olympic. Tonight they're playing a little bit deeper to combat the pace of Magic front 3. I think it's a smart move by McGuinness. He just doesn't want to push too much of a high line. If Magic can get a few balls through for Virgili, Bradbury or Dino Fadge, they could be in trouble.
Well, here's a mistimed pass from Josh Piddington straight to Leo Bertos, and then Cooper away to Horner. His touch, his first touch really let him down there.
Well, there's a tip there for young footballers watching this. In that moment where it really matters, you just really need to concentrate on what's at hand, not the end prize. You just need to get that first touch right. That gets right, and it's goal time. And unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case.
He was just thinking about what he had to do after controlling the ball instead of thinking about what he was going to do in that moment. Jed Hornery. Been superb, as we've mentioned, for Hamilton this year when he hasn't been on the injury bench. It's a long-range effort over from Cody Lucas.
Just back on Hornery there. That for him, I'd be confident that going through his mind, he would score that goal had that touch been right. But you're right, Bart. He's got his eye on where it's going to go and where the keeper is and summing it up. And Smudge, you've been there plenty of times before. You know how important it is to get that right.
Hey, just on that, yeah, it was a bit of a firm ball played into Hornery as well. It made a bit of a bobble, I think.
Sure.
But,
yep.
Not making any excuses for him, but you're right. You need to concentrate and finish it off.
So Carl Bradbury looks up and sees his speedy twin, James Virgili. Couldn't quite run that one down. 57 matches in the A-League for that man James Virgili for the Jets. No A-League goals for him. Plenty of assists, though. Remember one time he set up Emil Heskey with a lovely ball across the face.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I remember that. I was there at the game, actually. But just on Hamilton's number 8, Jacob Baylor, it's great to see him back in first grade. He's had a year off last year. I'll pass it over to you in a sec, CT. He had a year off, had a knee reconstruction. He's just getting back to full fitness. I watched him play against Edgeworth last week, and he was a pest for Edgeworth. He was in their face, just keeping everything nice and simple, and he did very well. And I think he's a great addition back for Hamilton Olympic.
Yeah, well, he certainly is, and what he does do is he does a lot of work that people don't notice, and that work off the ball in particular gets Hamilton in position to get some possession where, often without him they may not.
Just a turnover there from Oxborough, and then Reece Cooper almost took advantage. It's Magic just having a couple of sloppy moments, and it's been Olympic who have had the better of the chances in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Can you put your finger on why that is, boys?
I think Magic's build-up's just a bit too sideways and not going forward quick enough. I think there's not too much rotation in midfield. We've got Oxborough on the ball here. Everyone's quite static. Olympic just sitting, waiting for that pass to put pressure on it. As you can see here, they're just waiting. Now they put their pressure on.
It's great pressure from Olympic.
Yep, and that's well played by Olympic. You could just see that from the screen, so you could just see that line up. Couldn't you see, T?
And Bertos then quickly picks it up and straight into the feet of Cooper, and that's where they're dangerous because they can transition.
Well, here's a great run from Hornery across the face. Pitts, well, he got a crucial arm to it, and he got enough power to just get it outside the 6-yard box and away from danger.
And away from Cooper was there, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Smudge, putting that sort of pressure on and resulting.
Well, he's arriving at the back post, Carl Bradbury. He was floating in the air for a moment there. Just not quite the height, though. Tom Davies done a mountain of work down that right flank, and Jed Hornery just straying offside. But as you were saying before, Smudge, I thought that was really well illustrated. Just Magic's inability to move the ball quickly, and the press from Olympic was superb.
Yeah, they didn't have much movement off the ball, and the ball movement was a bit too quick, bit too sideways. You want to get it forward. Look, Carl Bradbury coming into the pocket now. That's what you want. You want the ball, try to get the ball played forward a little bit quicker. They're a little bit too narrow for me. I think their wide blokes need to stay nice and wide. It will spread the game. There'll be more space in midfield. This is a little bit better play by him. This should go back into Oxborough, and he should try to do a nice quick switch out to the left-hand side here to Vigili. Yeah, see, the build-up place is nice, a bit too slow, and it allows Olympic to set, doesn't it, CT?
I'm not having a flashback, am I, Smudge, to that match that Magic played here against Adamstown last year, where the build-up was almightily slow, and they could not break down a Pete McGuinness coached Adamstown side last year.
That was a little bit different because Adamstown had 2 blocks of 4. They were distinct blocks of 4, and there's no way Magic were getting through the brick wall there. So, and again, what McGuinness has done here is leaving 4 at the back to counteract the quick transition by Magic.
Magic with the build-up with his blue shirts everywhere around James Vigili. He's not getting through there. The ball may have almost been passed straight to him by Jake McGuinness, who was frustrated with the ball. Son, of course, of coach Pete McGuinness. Jake scored twice in the FFA Cup in their round 4 match against Cahaiba. They beat Cahaiba 5-1 in round 4 Hamilton. And in round 5 they beat Western 2-0, and then of course last Saturday beating Edgeworth 3-2. And for Magic, they got the job done first up against Wallsend 4-1, Thornton 2-0 in round 5, and then 3-0 against Adamstown in round 6. So just the 1 goal conceded for Magic up to this point in the FFA Cup. Their defence has been superb so far in 2018.
So even the build-up here, they've only gone about 10-15 yards in about 10 or so passes. I think they need to get the ball and switch the ball a little bit quicker. And as the Olympics starting to push out a little bit here, just close the pitch up a little bit. The play needs to be a lot quicker.
Shane Paul got a little bit of a bump from Jacob Bailey. Loves these matches, doesn't he, Jacob Bailey, up against Broadmeadow Magic. Been a big loss for Olympic over the last.
So even here, John Griffiths and Matt Hurley virtually standing on top of each other. They need to spread out, otherwise they're not going to go too far.
The final 15 minutes in this first half is a controversial decision. Pete McGuinness not impressed with the free kick going the way of Magic after Matt Hoole was felled. Brother, of course, of Andrew Hoole, who playing for the Central Coast Mariners. Actually saw him in the ground tonight. So Mitch Oxborough, this one is fairly deep. He decides instead to go wide to find Piddington, whipped in. I should say that ball was almost trying to find Piddington in the box by James Vigili.
I'd also like to see Turno Page playing at the number 9, just to drop into the pockets and don't have anyone up front. Play in front of the back 4. Allow one of the back 4 defenders to try and make a decision if he's going to come and mark him. That can create spaces and the ability for the Magic midfielders to run beyond the back four.
Another lapse there from Magic. They're going to get away with it with a free kick. Bertos just giving Bradbury a little massage on the way through. But the throw from Paul was poor. It was away from Oxborough. Just gave possession back and releasing the pressure valve.
So we've spoken about strikers falling to the pockets plenty of times before, but he could cause some real damage to the defence here of Olympic by doing that, dragging them out of position. As you say, making them make a choice. Do I sit or do I go? I've got to break my line. That's about what the size of that is.
It's been a typical cup match, or you could basically call this a cup final, going through to the round of 32. It's been tight. Limited opportunities for both sides. Both have been fairly defensively sound up to this point. See what Hamilton can find out.
Boys, when Olympic play against Magic, it could be a pre-season match. It'd be played at the same intensity and level and enthusiasm, because it's just about pride. It's about the result.
Here's Shane Paul. Scored that famous goal in 2012 against Hamilton Olympic in the grand final at Magic Park, where Magic won 4-1. 2 grand finals these two have played in, and Olympic won one. Magic have won the other, so very tight. And in their head-to-head in the top grade, it's actually 18 wins apiece. So that's how tight this rivalry is. Here's the run forward from Reece Cooper.
That's where Reece Cooper's good, running forward at players. You need to try and find space for him. Like we talk about these pockets all the time. He just needs to drop a little bit deeper, find a bit of space, line the defenders up and start attacking players, because he's very elusive, very hard man to stop, isn't he, CT?
Well, that's what we spoke about earlier in the match, and he did that then, and he looks dangerous. He just ran out of options at that time. But that's where he is at his best.
Magic's back line a little bit deep here.
Just allowing him to come onto them again, and here's James Virgili. Quickly trying to transition for Magic, but his pass is behind Carl Bradbury. And darts infield away from Reece Cooper, but he's not quite going to have the pace to get away from Hamilton's flyer. Here's Paul. Back to Oxborough, whose pass goes astray. Now Luke Virgili gets bumped over near the sideline. It's a repeated infringement for Leo Bertos. Go into the book.
Yeah, silly challenge in the end. Luke Virgili wasn't going anywhere, and I think Leo Bertos just was a bit frustrated and had a bit of a clumsy challenge and deservedly got a yellow.
On the flip side of that, I'm loving his enthusiasm. He's really keen to play. He knows how much it means to Olympic, and he's just getting right stuck in. He needs to be a bit careful now. But loving the fact that he wants to win so badly.
Well, here's a high boot that struck Josh Piddington. And this one is a little bit further out for Oxborough, I should say. So it was probably a couple of metres closer in earlier in the match where he hit the post. That's been the best chance of the match so far. This one maybe a little deeper and a little better for him.
Well, the last one a little bit closer. This one a little bit further out. He could place the last one a little bit better, being about 3 metres, 4 metres closer. This one's going to have a little bit more on it to beat Tyler Warren. So he's going to have a bit more power, a little less accuracy. Again, needs to be on target.
Here he is, Mitch Oxborough, this time into the wall. And flying through the air, cleaning up Kyle Hodges, and going to the book himself is Matt Houle. It's very clumsy.
Yeah, it was a clumsy challenge, but see Kyle Hodges, Captain Courageous, just got to his feet, shook Hoole's hand and just got up and played. That's what you like.
Yeah, you know what? And if he was hanging onto a grudge, it doesn't look like it there. He just got up and got on with the job, as you say. And true test of his character, that of Kyle Hodges. Getting on with the job, as you say, Smudge.
As you know, CT, he's a lovely bloke, isn't he, off the park? Quite a very sort of quiet sort of bloke off the park, but a fierce competitor on.
A quality footballer all around and a great captain.
Leo Bertos looking up and seeing Blake Green and also Hornery. There's Jed Hornery trying to line up Reece Cooper on goal. Jacob Bailey, he's got all the time in the world to pick his pass. Puts it straight on the chest of Burtos, appeals for handball. They are heated by Stephen Laurie, which I think is a fair decision.
That was well played by Burdos, well controlled. That high ball come and try to flick it around Shane Paul. Magic very lucky they got a free kick, or Olympic got a free kick. They stomped Leo Burdos because he was on goal if he got around Shane Paul.
Yeah, that's definitely true, Smudge. He looks like he means business, and that's a big break for Olympic. This one gets swung into the box. He'll be looking just to put it outside the corner of the 6 or thereabouts with left to right spin on, so if someone guide it home into the back of the net. That's what be going through his mind.
There is Burtos towards the back post. Bit of a scramble, and we'll just be over for the goal kick. Leo Burtos speaking of his World Cup time, and he played in a World Cup in all 3 matches back in 2010 for New Zealand. Played against Slovakia, Paraguay and Italy. A 1-1 draw with Italy, who of course aren't at this World Cup, but still an impressive result. They were the world defending champions back in 2010, the Italians.
And don't forget, our good friend Clint Gosling was a part of that as the goalkeeper coach. Had a great time doing all of that. And we've got a a large contingent of Newcastle, of our footballing community in Russia at the moment. It's great to see all of them and their comments of their photographs on Facebook. It'll be fun to watch over the next month or so.
And we'll be very jealous, I'm sure, CT.
And quite a few NPL players have left the league for a few weeks and gone travelling. Lucky them.
Just trying to check the time over there. It's about 12:30 in the afternoon in St. Petersburg in Russia. Of course, they got many time zones, but that's towards the western end of Russia. So perfect time to tune into this, I think.
Yeah,
well, from the heights of the World Cup straight to the FFA Cup, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. If you are watching in Russia, let us know. Comment on Facebook. We'll check out the comments at half time.
And that's a great ball by Oxford. That's what they need. They need a quick switch to try and open up play. I think the turnover for both sides is a bit average tonight as well. CT, your thoughts on that? They're getting 2 or 3 passes, then there's a turnover. I think they just need to hold the ball a little bit. That's a great...
Reece Cooper, he does have the speed, but the sweeper-keeper work from Paul Bitts is excellent.
Well, Smudge, that's typical of a contest between Magic and Olympic. That's what happens.
Well, what would happen there with Leo Burtos? The ball got stuck in his hands and appeals for the foul throw. I think it was all in one motion, so it was fine, but a little bit interesting.
It's typical of that type of action where you get 2 sides so desperate to win. And typical of a semi-final or grand final type. In some ways, hasn't really totally settled in yet, and it'll be into the second half where we see potentially some more possession.
Yeah, I'll be intrigued when he uses Johnny Matt because he holds possession really well, especially coming just deep in front of the back 4. And he can bring in midfielders. I think this game's lined up for him in the second half. Yeah,
and the other thing is, with Majerovski coming in, when he does, balls can be played into him at length and he can hold it up and let the play catch up to him. And he has that ability, and that's something out of his bag of tricks.
Here's Houle. Bradbury. He weaved away from Hodges and then he decided to go to ground. I thought it was a little delayed from Bradbury. Pete McGuinness thought exactly the same as you'd expect.
Yeah, it looked like he nicked him a little bit, but Bradbury obviously fell with the flow of the nick.
But another free kick. Gee, they've had some chances from this kind of range, Broadmeadow Magic. Mitch Oxbury's had some practice already. This is the 3rd free kick from this point on the ground.
Well, if nothing else, he knows it. He's certainly had a couple of goes at it, and if it's what you practice at training. First one hit the bar, the side post. Second one hit the wall. This one, he's far enough off the wall to get it over and on.
This is perfect distance, I think.
He's got to pick a spot and get it home.
Here is Mitch Oxbury. Goes low! Well, it wasn't quite as pretty as he would have liked. But it's a goal all the same for Mitch Oxborough, and Magic have the advantage against their rivals just before halftime. A crucial time to score.
Well, pick a spot he did. He picked it low this time, didn't go over the wall. found a hole and he executed that perfectly, Smudge. He found a spot, found a gap, and just put it where it had to go.
Yeah, well, they had 2 attempts going over the top. One hit the post, one hit the wall, and then he decided to go low. I thought that distance was perfect for him, and he just drilled it nice and low, and Tyler Warren must have been unsighted, it looked, and it was wrong-footed.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the difficulty, isn't it, for a keeper, because there's bodies everywhere. If it does go low because you're expecting it high, you had absolutely no chance.
And that's the thing, from this angle, it's hard to tell whether there was a little nick, a little deflection, you never know. And Hamilton may be replying straight away here. It is across the line. And the free kick has gone Broadmeadow's way.
Looks like it was a foul on bits by one of the Olympic players,
And
but it's hard to see.
He's in a lot of trouble. The yellow card has come out. Try and find out who that is for.
Just going back to Magic's goal, I think Pete McGuinness will be very frustrated because Olympic have caused 3 or 4 free kicks around a dangerous area in that young box, and they've got Oxborough the other side. So you go out, you probably tell the boys no free kicks around the box because they've got some dangerous players who can score.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And when it happens, and it happens again, and it happens again, and then it happens again, and they score, that's where you get a bit frustrated as a coach, and he'll be feeling that right now. And they would have almost thought their chance had come back into reality, but unfortunately for Olympic, it didn't eventuate.
So the first meeting between these two sides in the FFA Cup. And it's Mitch Oxborough's goal. Who else but Mitch Oxborough for Broadmeadow Magic? Hasn't scored in the FFA Cup. Hadn't scored coming up to this match. He has now. And now Paul Bitts just receiving some attention. And Magic's record in the derbies has been pretty dominant. Of late, they've won 4 of the last 5. And at the moment, they're a step closer to making it 5 of the last 6. But there's plenty of water to pass under this bridge.
I wouldn't be too disheartened if I was Olympic. They're definitely in this match. They're getting a few chances, a few good opportunities. It's been a very even first half.
And one thing Magic have got to look out for, again there, they score and almost concede. It happened to them in round 10 against Olympic. They scored. Then at the other end, Olympic didn't equalise, brought it back to 3-2 immediately. So just clocking off there. We know you're most vulnerable when you have just scored. Magic proving it a couple of times. While Hodges gets up, he angles the header, and Blake Green quickly looks up and sees Jed Hornery tracking forward. So time slipping away in this first half for Olympic to get back on level terms.
Olympic are in good field position right now. Players certainly forward and balanced in their shape. Just need to hold his possession here a little bit, Smudge.
And Davies just couldn't keep that inside the line.
Yeah, totally agree. Just a little bit more movement in midfield. Try to get a forward pass happening a little bit quicker. Jake McGuinness then just done a quick turn, forward pass straight into Tom Davies, but yeah, unfortunately the ball rolled out. For Magic, I'd like to see a bit more width up higher. They're playing with a front 3. Sometimes they go narrow, but if they go narrow, you need someone to go wide, either a Shane Puller or a Matt Hill on the opposite side if they're playing 5 at the back. Sometimes they're just a little bit too narrow and they're easy pickings as a defence. And a few times Olympics just set up their defensive structure and Magic's had no way to go through. Great turn.
Great turn from Cooper, and then another early ball. Paul Bitts brings it under his clutches. Boys, you can shoot me down here, but I feel that Hamilton Olympic have had the better chances in open play. Magic have had the better chances from the dead ball situations, but from open play, they haven't created as much as what Olympic have. I don't know what you guys have thought on that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the game's been very even. I'd like to see the possession rate. I think it'd be probably 50-50 if anything. I think Olympics probably held better possession. And, yeah, probably had the more clear-cut chances in open play as well. But overall, yeah, it's hard to split the sides.
You can argue that, well, Olympic are obviously not letting Magic get into those situations because they're giving away the fouls, but that's the way it goes. It's Fajkovic. That goal drought for him almost stretching to a year. He may be able to end that here. Well, skimming across the turf. Was that the reverse commentator's curse, Smudge? scored the opening goal in that match against Moreton Bay last year in the round of 32, Dino Fajkovic, after James Virgili missed a penalty about 2 minutes before then. They went down 4-2 in extra time. So the free kick go Olympics way. Ruben Zadkovic barking out the orders to his troops.
Yeah, I think he wants more pressure on midfield. When Olympic midfielders get the ball, he wants more pressure from them. Everyone's numbered up here, so there should be pressure on the ball, which can force a turnover.
That's a great turn from Tom Davies to get away from Shane Paul, and then he goes low and hard, and there is the equaliser for Hamilton Olympic, and it's that man, Jed Hornery, again. He just cannot stop scoring for Hamilton Olympic, and it's 1-1 before the break.
That was so well played by Hamilton Olympic. What a brilliant ball across by
Tom Davies.
Tom Davies and Jed Hornery again. He comes in near stick. I said to Pete McGuinness last week when they beat Edgeworth, Hornery could have scored about 3 or 4 goals due to his runs. He always makes these timely runs into the box. He's been very well coached throughout his juniors, and obviously McGuinness has got him this year. But he's always threatening. He's always dangerous. And what a beautiful finish, wasn't it, CT? Just glided in that back stick.
And all of a sudden, here it comes. Shane Paul trying to stop Reece Cooper. Trying to manhandle him. And the temperature has just gone up a couple of degrees before half-time. And we will go to the sheds. Level. And it really spiced up in the last 5 minutes before half-time. Probably came at the wrong time. So after such a tight start, it was a goal from Mitch Oxborough from the free kick, which put Magic ahead. And then Tom Davies take a bow, set up Jed Hornery with a perfect ball. As we head to the sheds at Adamstown Oval, it's Broadmeadow Magic 1, Hamilton Olympic 1. And boys, superb first 45 of action, especially that last 5.
Yeah, that's a cracking first half of football here. And look, as we've said earlier, Smudge, there hasn't been much in it, and the result at half-time reflects that at 1 each. Look, we've mentioned open play. Olympic have probably had more chances, and that's the way their goal has come from. And Broadmeadow Magic from the dead spot through Oxborough, that's where their goal has come from, and that's where they've had their most chances. And in the end, it's a fairly even game so far.
Yeah, it's like a cup final, isn't it? Which it is. The winner makes it to the FFA Cup round of 32. So there's a lot of stop-starts. There's not too much fluency in their play because there's been a lot of fouls. Like I said, Olympic's been fouling Magic a lot outside their 18. That's why Magic's haven't had too many opportunities. The opportunities are coming a lot in set plays. There was a few balls from Virgil in the first half. I went to Bradbury where they had sort of half sniffs, but didn't result in anything. However, Olympic, I think deservedly got the goal back, and 1-1 at half time's a fair result so far, I believe. And
just quickly before we go, McGuinness at half-time is probably going to tell his troops to be very, very careful in and around the box. They've let some free kicks occur in and around that. And Zadkovic, Smudge?
Yeah, I think Zadkovic would want to be playing with a bit more width and a bit more intent when they're playing the ball forward. Sometimes their build-up's been a little bit too slow. There's not too much rotation in midfield, but I'd like to see a little bit width out wide. If it comes from either front three, Virgili out wide or Bradbury out wide, or if they're tucking in, Poole, their wing-backs, Hoole and Shane Paul need to get a bit of width. That's going to spread the game. It's going to allow the midfielders more space. They'll be able to turn and play their strikers in.
Well, boys, before we go to half-time, I'm just checking the Facebook comments. Now, Jared Noon's just commented, shout-out to the Swansea boys watching from Moscow. Josh O'Brien and Joel Fleming, Year of the Swan. So great to have the Swansea boys watching.
Yeah, sure is, yeah, absolutely.
Also, it says, give us a shout-out to Michael Perisic and the Brisbane boys watching. So we'll give a shout-out to Michael Perisic.
How are you, Pero?
Any relation to Ivan Perisic, the Croatian midfielder?
Quite possibly, but Michael Perisic, what a good footballer in his own right.
And a really good point here from Darren Anderson about Paul Bitts saying the keeper is in the same colour strip. It's not quite the same colour, it's purple, but it is close to Olympics blue kit. That's a really interesting point. So what do you think, Smudge? Paul Bitts' colour is very similar to the Olympic outfield players.
Yeah, I'm surprised Steve Laurie hasn't pulled that up, because referees are very, especially with even with colour socks, they're very tight with that.
Yeah, very tight.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Darren, great point there. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 5. Thanks for joining us. It's Mitch Oxborough, the goal scorer for Broadmeadow Magic. Jed Hornery for Olympic. It's 1-1 here at Adamstown Oval. Welcome back to Adamstown Oval in Newcastle for this round 7 FFA Cup clash between Broadmeadow Magic and Hamilton Olympic, the local rivals in a local derby here. And just before half-time, we've had a couple of goals. Mitch Oxborough, you'll know that name, former Brisbane Roar midfielder. He scored the opener for Broadmeadow Magic from the free kick. And then Jed Hornery equalised for Hamilton Olympic, who's been prolific in the last couple of weeks. Scored 2 in his first 2 for Hamilton this season in the NPL. Got injured. He's back from injury. And in the last 2 FFA Cup matches, he scored a goal in each. So Stephen Laurie just maybe getting the net fixed here. I think we're having an issue with the net at the southern end. Smudge, are you a net expert?
No, not at all, but...
See if it is going to get sorted. And they're going to have to bring the duty officer out to fix the net. The last thing you want is a hole. I don't know if you saw a couple of years ago, there was actually a goal in Germany where the net was away from the goalpost, and the goal was actually scored in between the gap, and it was awarded.
Oh, really?
In the Bundesliga. Quite incredible. So, making sure that doesn't happen.
Just quick, I just spoke to Pete McGuinness as they walked out in the second half, and he was obviously reasonably happy with his trips at halftime. He thought their turnover was too much, and he's come up with a bit of a game plan in the second half to try and put a bit more pressure on the ball, try and squeeze him into a certain area. Be careful of their transition, but I'll be interested. He sort of mentioned something about, he doesn't want Magic to play out. He's going to put pressure right up the top. So we'll see what happens there.
So Olympic running from right to left in this second 45 minutes in the blue. So we're 45 minutes away, potentially, from knowing who is going through to the round of 32 from Northern New South Wales. In the other match, Lambton and Charlestown, it's 0-0. Here, it's just as close at 1-1. It's Tom Davies who set up that goal for Hamilton late on in the second half. Heads it down for Bertos. And the radar just off.
Paul Bits walked past me on the way out after half-time with a big bandage around his head. You can probably see it on the camera right now. So obviously got a cut just above his eye.
And that collision with Jacob Bailey, who went into the book. Never one to shy away from a challenge, Jacob Bailey. You'll see how that affects him in the second half.
Half-time, boys. I was talking to a few of the Magic officials, and they've been quite impressed with Hamilton Olympic. Actually, they said they thought Hamilton Olympic just shaved them in the first half. So that's well played by Reese. Oh, sorry, it's cut out.
I'd agree with that. I'd definitely agree with that. I thought Hamilton they didn't deserve to go in at half-time behind, so deserve an equaliser for them. This one dinked a little too far for Blake Green to catch up with. So Olympic, their quest to make it through to the round of 32 for the very first time. That draw on the 26th of June. Still these 2 matches to be decided tonight from Northern New South Wales. Northern Territory as well, I believe. And Canberra this weekend. So a few matches still to work out that final 32. As the ball dinked in towards Fajkovic. A little bit of a sedate start to the second half after the end of the first half was getting quite fiery.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll be interested to see what Ruben Zakovic does here. For me, I'd like to see Johnny Majorowski come on with about 30 minutes to go. I'd even nearly put him on sooner. I think you put him up the top. He knows how to bring players into play. He can hold the ball up. In the first half, I thought there was way too much turnover. And I think he'll be able to create things, especially for their front 3.
Well, the other thing is he's a big game player, and the bigger the occasion, the better he seems to play, or the more involvement he has and changes and impacts. He's got the ability to make a difference.
Great ball.
James Virgilio just on Majorowski, has played in the round of 32 before with Lambton Jaffs a couple of years ago. James Virgilio! Great save from Tyler Warren. It was low, got down well. Thought that was just going to slide by into the bottom corner. He didn't let it happen, Tyler Warren.
Yeah, and that's where you want to see James Virgil a little bit wider, getting in one-on-one situations with the defender, able to attack the defender, going towards the box and have a shot on goal. It was well played by James Virgil and a good chance for Magic.
Just the one clean sheet for Tyler Warren this year. It's been a tough year for Hamilton defensively, but in the front, they've been brilliant. They've scored in every game so far. That's 10 in the NPL and 3 in the Cup. Piddington just puts his boot through it. So it's route 1 from Broadmeadow Magic. Here is Kyle Bradbury. Well shielded. Across the face and well blocked and cut out by Kyle Hodges.
Yeah, and Tyler Warren's really made a home for himself here at Hamilton. He has in his smudge. He's come into the group. He was initially sitting in behind Danny Ireland last year. He went out with some illness, etc. And Tyler Warren has taken his spot and really grabbed it with both hands, pardon the pun, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I definitely agree with their CT.
Here's Oxborough again, looking to put in a better ball. A couple of poor balls in there from Magic star midfielder. He's had some injury issues since he's come to Broadmeadow with a tight hammy, ruling him out a couple of weeks ago against Maitland. That 0-0 draw, and he came off the bench last week.
Just on Magic, even there, they're so narrow down that left-hand side. Oh.
Now Piddington getting forward. Slipped over at the last minute.
I know what your thoughts are, CT. When you're playing 5 at the back, it allows you to play with width. Even though they're playing 3 up front, their 3-prong attacks start wide. When they tuck in, you have your wide wing-backs overlap, and that gives you some width. And that gives you space in the midfield.
Well, it forces that, doesn't it? Because you have 3 at the back, so that area is covered. Your left and your right. I mean, most coaches wouldn't like both of them forward at the same time, your left and your right. Hold the balance and let one of them go, and that does you exactly right, Smudge. It gives you the width and gives you the balance, and you're covered at the back. And if you're going to play that way, that's definitely what the aim is, to get people width and get people forward and running from deep, and that's difficult to pick up.
Yeah, and I think that's what Magic's just lacked every now and again. When they've played with width, like Virgili just before, played with a bit of width, got the ball wide, it was one-on-one, and they nearly scored. When they play a bit too narrow, it's very comfortable for Hamilton.
So Reece Cooper was just bumped down against the touchline. There's another chance from the dead ball for Hamilton Olympic and Leo Burtos.
Another one left to right spin that he'll be putting on this, hoping ball knocked forward.
It is dinked in and they fall at the back post. Tempted swivel from Pappas, and free kick goes against Olympic. Groans from the Hamilton fans. Just 11 goals conceded this year for Magic in the NPL in 11 matches. Just 1 in 3 in the FFA Cup. Make that 2 after tonight's match currently. Blake Green quickly picks up the ball. We know the pace he possesses. Reece Cooper trying to make himself a target in the middle, and Reece Cooper gets there, and Paul Bitts just taps it away. Excellent save from Bitts. It did hang up there in the air.
And what a ball in, but what a touch from Cooper. It was just almost a speculator, and it was headed top corner bound, and Bitts somehow got his hand onto it.
Here is Burtos. Bailey rising. And off the crossbar. Well, he scored on the weekend, the winner against Edgeworth. He almost had another one there. This one dinked in a little too far. Cody Lucas there.
Wow, Paul Peter McGuinness on the sideline there. His hair's going grey.
Well, it's already grey. He's starting to lose it now, CT. Yeah, they're riding their luck a little bit here, Magic.
Well, Olympic at the moment, they're really on a roll, and just get the sense that Magic just want this big swing just to go away.
And you know the thing is with Hamilton, what happened there? I missed that.
Ball's just over the sideline for an Olympic throw.
Sorry.
Nothing to worry about, Smudge.
You got your glasses on or what?
Yeah. You know the thing is with Hamilton, I'll leave you with
just rein this in. Here he is across the face. Hornery goes down in the box. It was a little soft, so not surprised that.
You know what? They're playing with confidence. You know the first 6 rounds when they won 1 out of 6, they weren't playing with confidence. Now they got the momentum. Now they know their structures, defensive, offensively. They're playing with confidence, and there's Oxborough with a nutty.
And a really good balance this side between youth and experience. Here's an opportunity for Kyle Bradbury. Short steps, swivels, steps, still going. Falls back for Oxborough. It was well hit on the left boot.
And how quick is Kyle Bradbury on his feet? He's just lightning and must be a terror to mark when he's got that sort of ability. And Oxborough, the strike on goal, the finish and save from Tyler Warren, we had it all just right there, let alone what's been going on end to end.
And as you know, CT, I coached Carl Bradbury back at Broadmeadow, taught him everything I knew, his quick feet and everything. So thanks, Smudge.
13 goals this year for Kyle Bradbury. He scored the most of any Magic player. He's only scored 9 in the NPL, only 9. James Virgili's leading scorer with 10, but Virgili yet to score in the FFA Cup this year. Sort of been rested for a few matches.
Hey boys, I forgot to mention, I was talking to a few of the Hamilton officials. It looks like Simon Mooney might have done his ACL in that challenge.
That's terrible
It
news.
just buckled under, yeah.
Leading scorer. He played for Argenton last year, Simon Mooney. His own League 2 side. Scored a bucket load of goals, too many to count. I think it was over 40, something around that mark, as Reece Cooper gets tugged off the ball by Justin Broadley.
Well, Simon Mooney is sitting with his parents about 3 or 4 metres away from us. Has not gone to get it treated yet. Just had a quick chat to him at half-time, said that he doesn't feel good at all, and he's that tough. He doesn't give much away, but chances are it doesn't look good for him in the outcome. But as soon as this game's over, he'll be off to get that one seen too.
And the unfortunate thing, he's had a tremendous year, hasn't he? He's been one of Olympics' best. They're leading goal scorer. He's played in a number of positions. He's going to be a big loss.
A huge loss for Hamilton.
They've done well without him thus far. And Scott Pettit as well. They're 2 leading scorers, and they're level with Magic and shading them at the moment. Here it is, dinked in. Bailey was there. Luke Virgili just put him off enough. Pressure still being applied by Hamilton Olympic. The visitors technically tonight. Broadmeadow's Magic Park. There's some ryegrass being sowed in, so...
I think it's great that this is at a neutral venue. I know Magic were the home side, but I would have liked to see both games here tonight, actually. At a neutral venue, one after each other.
The only issue with that is because it's been a bit wet, the pitch may have been chopped up a bit. And I was thinking that was a great idea, Smudge, if it was a bit drier, but that's the concern for Adamstown. Although they're not playing at home this week in the NPL, they do have the youth matches, so that's Cody Lucas. And he threads it through. Blake Green. This one straight into the clutches of Bits.
Well, the other thing you probably can't see quite from here is how many people are here. Just right through the grandstand, there's barely a spare seat, but just either side and right down to past the canteen and up towards the gate, there's a lot of people, and especially from a Wednesday night.
Yeah, great turnout tonight, as it always is when these two sides meet. Shane Paul, Piddington. I'm just saying Cody Carroll strip off his kit, and he's about to get ready and head out there. The youngster scored some special goals from the dead ball this year. Cody Carroll won at this ground against Adamstown earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think that's a very good move because you know what, he gives mobility. He's very good at holding possession as well, and he can strike a goal as well. So I think it's a great move by Ruben Zakovic, and
see who he does come on and replace. I'm thinking maybe Justin Broadley in the middle of a park. You wouldn't think Oxborough will come off. As soon as I say that, he probably will.
Justin Broadley, he's having a good look, but it's not going to be him.
It's going to be Shane Paul from the far side of the ground.
This is an unusual one, Smudge.
Yeah, well, Shane Paul is not playing in his natural position. His natural position is more in the central and midfield, where here he's playing like a wing-back. He hasn't got the legs anymore to go up and down the line. And he's not that type of player who's got a brilliant cross on him. But I think this is a good move. Get Curry to Caroline, give a bit of buzz back into the Magic side. They've been a bit flat the last 10 or so minutes. A bit of youthfulness, but also he gives mobility as well.
Well, the other thing with Cody Carroll is that his distribution's very, very strong. So if he's getting forward and buzzing up and down that sideline and able to distribute the ball in the way that he does, it could cause some problems.
Well, the question I've got, Smudge, is have they lacked Shane Paul in that middle of the park? As he said, he has been playing wider tonight. They missed him. We might ask that or answer that in a second.
Well, to be honest, they're playing a little bit of a different shape, but to me, I just think they've been playing too narrow. If they use their width, there's more space out there for the midfielders. I think I'll be interested to see what Ruben does here. He might even change the shape. He might go back to a 4-3-3.
James Vigili just had a quick chat to Ruben then. He's dinked in. Reece Pappas. He's been with the Mariners and the Jets. Reece Pappas, and I'm going to say a corner in the end after all that.
Just on Reece Pappas, he was superb against Edgeworth last week, playing in that centre-back role. Majority of the year he's been playing at the number 6 or number 8 for Hamilton, just a deep midfield in front of their screen, their back four. But for me, I really like him in the back line as a stopper. His distribution's outstanding. He can read the play really well, and he's very good on one-on-one situations.
As we said, he works well with Kyle Hodges. Got the youth and the experience next to each other. Great combination that they've been. Piddington picks out Cody Carroll for an early touch for him since he's come onto the park. It's been turned over. Cooper now back to Jacob Bailey. Reese this one towards the back post, but Blake Green quite of the height to contend with Paul Bitts, and now James Vigili urged forward. Infield to
beautiful
Cody
touch.
Carroll.
Great touch.
Let it run on, and the pass is a poor one.
And see there, Magic are so narrow. Carl Bradbury's come inside. There's no one out wide. If you play it out wide, Olympic defender's going to have to push on and try and close the Magic wide player down, which creates a space. And for me, I think Magic's just playing too narrow, which is making Olympics defensively, like the defensive structure, quite comfortable. Your thoughts, CT? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've seen Magic play wide at different points where we've had Bradbury on one side and we've had Vigili on the other side, literally with chalk on their boots. But tonight it hasn't necessarily been that way, and maybe that's an instruction from the coaching staff.
Well, here he is, Oxford. Only takes 1 minute to send Carl Bradbury away, but Tyler Warren, he was out there like a panther. Now, Reece Pappas, he was in a bit of a sticky situation there. Cooley got away from it.
Justin Broadley, boys, he's really one of those players that you just don't see pop up, but does a huge amount on the ball, off the ball, tackling, cutting off passes, and just generally really doing a lot of things that go unnoticed. But, geez, workload is very, very high.
And the ball falls for Cody Carroll. Vigili is offside. Just updating that score at Lower Car Oval between Charlestown and Lambton. That pitch does look a little cut up. Does get fairly damp up at Charlestown, and it's 0-0.
Well, that's one thing that we haven't commented on here is how immaculate this pitch has been given the rain that we've had this week. It's been solid over the weekend particularly, and walked out there before the start of the game, and it's just fantastic.
And they put the money into it last year, Adamstown, to improve the drainage here at Adamstown Oval.
And the other thing, it's a great community facility, isn't it? It's easy. You can watch football anywhere.
Nice grandstand, a nice suburban ground here at Adamstown Oval. I think I said pre-game the most famous in Newcastle, you'd probably say. Start of the KB United days. This was the home.
Just another thing on Broadmeadow Magic, I like to see their defence push up. They're so deep at the moment, especially when Olympics got the ball at the back. I like to see them squeeze right up because they've got pace at the back to combat any pace that Olympics got. So
Vigili was able to knee it down, but breaks down at the last moment to Cody Lucas. But here's Cody Carroll. There's a little space that opened up for him. I thought he may pull the trigger. Vigili, almost a carbon copy of the position where Tom Davies was in to set up Hamilton's goal tonight, but couldn't get past the first man. Jed Hornery, the goal scorer for Hamilton Olympic. He equalised after Mitch Oxborough opened the account for Magic tonight from the dead ball. Here it is again. Strong punch from Tyler Warren. Falls for Cody Carroll. And he didn't miss by much. When he hits them, they stay hit. Cody Carroll was playing for the Jets youth the last few years, plying his trade in the middle of the park. Now Magic, he's really gone to another level this year. He's really stood out in the midfield.
yeah, he's been very good every game I've seen him play, and he scored a number of goals, especially from set pieces. But well controlled and good strike, just sort of went past the post.
To be honest, probably count himself unlucky not to start tonight. He's been that good. And we have got the opportunity to watch him play as Broadly. Just left that a little short on bits. Now Tom Davies, he's got himself slightly out of position. Here's Bradbury. Going to turn him this way and that. Cool.
So even Magic's back three here. I like to see them spread more. They're so narrow.
Is this an instruction from Ruben Zadkiewicz to play narrower, or is this being caused by Hamilton Olympic this evening? Because they are playing a little wider, so Magic think, well, we might have to play in between the lines.
No, well, you know what? They've sort of been playing a little bit narrow all year, but when they do get wide, that's when they create the opportunities to score goals. But in saying that, even when they've played narrow with Vigili and that going narrow, making narrow runs, they have scored as well. But tonight, I think they're just a little bit too narrow. Oh.
There's Kyle Hodges in a foot race with Carl Bradbury. An offender won it.
Well done,
nice, great weaving run from Jake McGuinness. Former Jets youth and Central Coast Mariners man himself. Now Burtos, wide for Davies. And that one just inside, just over the byline. Fell inside that near post.
Even Magic's back three, you want to be spread at least to the width of the 18-yard box. The two wide guys, the left and right stopper on the width of the 18-yard box with the guy in the centre. When you're too narrow, it's so easy to defend. You've got two narrow players, you only need one defender. But if you've got two wide players, you need two defenders to go for the ball.
So it's been level for much of it tonight. 0-0 for the best part of the first half. And 2 goals in about 5 minutes. And CT, just looking at the Facebook message, Matt Comerford's watching tonight. He wants you to put on the boots. I tell you what,
no.
that would be good to watch.
That would be embarrassing.
I have coached Camo, and we've been on the training park together, and he knows my pace, skill, and just general.
You've got the pace of James Vigili. You're quicker than Vigili, aren't you? CT?
Possibly, but not as quick as Camo. Go, Camo. Good to see you on board, mate.
He's got a big match this week against Charlestown. Up at Maitland. Here's James Vigili.
And what a year he's having too, by the way. He's doing extremely well for Maitland. And in everything for them.
Scored a great goal the other week, didn't he?
He got goal of the other week. Beautiful strike against Edgeworth.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is that, you know, he's going to give you everything he's got and his team, and nothing left in the tank at the end of every single game. And that's what we love about Matthew Comerford.
Is he still giving out free tattoos to the player of the match at Maitland after each?
Here's Hamilton Olympic breaking forward. Again, the ball too close to Paul Bitts there from Tom Davies.
But I like the intent from Olympic. They go and burst quick, they transition quick, and Magic's in here.
Great opportunity. James Virgili, one-on-one with Tyler Warren, and that's the desperation that Olympic need off the post, and they'll get away with it. Probably. Maybe they won't. Here's Bradbury. Well, surely you thought Olympic were going to get away with it, and they will in the end. Tyler Warren dives on the ball, and Olympic fans breathe a huge sigh of relief.
So even with Magic there, they're playing a bit more narrower, so the narrow ball actually resulted in a good opportunity for them.
Well, sometimes that slider in behind the back, and maybe that is the ploy. Keep it a bit tighter, get the balls in through, and get your strikers just get a little bit deeper. They weren't doing as much first half, slide it in behind, and that's the result.
And you saw Bradbury just slipped over there as Virgili got put in on goal, but it was the desperation at the back from Hamilton, Hodges getting across, and now Olympic. Blake Green, it's been poor, these deliveries in the second half from Olympic.
And that's probably the first time I've seen Olympics back four or even back six in sixes and sevens. It was a quick transition by Magic, and that's what they're very good at doing. But that's the first time I've seen them, as a result from a slip as well, but in sixes or sevens, hey, CT?
Yeah, it was a scramble to look at. Really, they were all over the shop, and players were down, people, legs everywhere, bodies everywhere, but Magic, almost, but not quite there.
If you're just joining us tonight, it's round 7 of the FFA Cup. The winner goes through to the round of 32, the nationwide round of 32. The draw in a couple of weeks. Ben Homer, Chris Turner and Damien Smith with you for Bar TV Sports tonight. The other match, Charlestown and Lambton. The latest score was 0-0. You can watch that also on Bar TV. Oxborough almost threaded in on goal. That's with Graham Law and Quentin Connors, so you can check that one out. Very tight up at Charlestown, as it is here. Magic's goal through Mitch Oxborough. Hamilton's through Jed Hornery. Hamilton have never made it to the round of 32. Magic have never lost in a round 7 match in the FFA Cup. They've made it through 3 out of the 4 years to the final 32 clubs in Australia. Here's a neat run forward from Reece Pappas, and he just plonked it over the top towards Hornery. Almost putting it right on a platter for the striker. Paul Bitts. Able to curl the pass away from an on-rushing Reece Cooper.
What a quality turn by Mitch Oxborough. You've seen Blake Green come, glanced over his shoulders. Blake Green came and just allowed Blake Green to bump into him and commit the foul. I'd like to see Oxborough a bit more on the ball as well, but maybe come a little bit deeper for the ball like he is now.
He's been a bit quiet tonight, hasn't he, Oxborough? Scored the goal, of course, but it was from a set piece. And there's another ball cut out. So used to him hitting the mark from that kind of situation. Paul Bitts.
Boys have got it on good authority that Broadmeadow Magic's manager, David Wilson, ex-Wallsend former great, is watching.
Long-range effort. Paul Bitts awkwardly gets the punch away. Here's Virgili. We'll go back to story time with CT in just a sec. Here's Matt Hoole. Looks up. And Tom Davies, well, he got his boot up.
God, he's been solid today, Tom Davies, hasn't he?
I'd say he'd be close to one of Olympic's best. Just a work rate from him down the right flank, and then there, getting the boot up was a tough, made it look easy. It was a tough position as the ball was bouncing awkwardly.
I like this Jed Hornery. He's only a young boy. He's only 19. He's in the face of John Griff. Wasn't happy. He's Magic with a bit of width for the first time and down the left-hand side.
Here he is, Luke Virgili, taking on Davies and beating him. And winning the corner for Magic. Is it story time now, CT? Or we
no, just David Wilson, Magic manager, not here, but he's at work, but maybe getting a sneaky look on his phone, Smudge.
And how's his son? I know we heard he's got injured at Magic. Was that versus, who was that versus again?
It was here against Adamstown.
Oh, that's right, it was
Wilson.
too, yeah.
Yeah, serious injury.
And Oxborough, that probably has crossed the line and has. You know, I know he's out for pretty short, close to the season.
Yeah, pretty close to, and I think when you get to that point, you're, okay, going to consolidate, don't risk it, don't come back too early. No, he'd be super keen, but follow the advice of the medical professionals and work your way back in.
Well, here we go, Smudge. You've been calling for it. John Majerowski going to come on. Now, Cody Carroll is coming to the sideline. I was thinking, surely not.
Instructions.
So it's Dino Fadjevic who's come from the park. He was superb last time against Hamilton. Has been a little quiet tonight. He set up a couple of goals that afternoon.
Yep, they pushed Majorowski straight to the number 9. This is where this game's set up for him, I feel.
Former Newcastle breaker. He's actually the highest goal scorer in matches between these two sides for Hamilton Olympic. Of course, spent a lot of his career, scored 7 goals in the NPL between these two. Golden Boot back in 2009 in the NBN State League, as it was called back then. 20 goals.
Substitution for Broadmeadow Magic.
James Virgili.
Ooh.
Oh, that touch was a bit heavy. Hornery goes down. Laurie waves it away. And then James Virgili tries to slide through a couple of Olympic defenders. And out comes the card. Now if it is Jacob Bailey. Jacob Bailey's yellow card was, so it's come out for James Virgili, has it? After all that, for blowing up at Laurie after he was felled.
You know what? I think that was a silly foul from Jacob Bailey. They had a lot of cover. Virgili kicked it forward. I think you're looking at me shaking your head, CT, saying it was a good professional foul.
He's lucky he's not got a
That's
second yellow there.
That's what I mean. I thought it was a silly foul by Jacob Bailey. You let him go. He still had 50, 60 yards to go, and plus there was cover.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's each way, isn't it? Cover, but they had numbers running forward at speed, and that's always dangerous. So he's just pulled the fuse out of that one. That's all he was doing there.
Or do you let a teammate who's not on a yellow card commit the foul? Here, maybe the chance for magic. Tyler Warren couldn't get his arms to it. And again, Olympic. Well, the danger is not gone for them. And Houle rips that one straight into the chest of Cody Lucas, who put his body on the line. And that would have hurt. And he is just feeling that chest sternum area. And that might have winded him. He's in a bit of pain at the near post. All whipped in. Piddington getting himself in the way. Scramble in the 6-yard box. Another slip from Virgili. He's getting a little bit hard on foot as Oxborough pinches the ball. Strike from John Griffiths. Doesn't score many. And the strike from Bradbury. Smacks into the post. For the second time tonight, Magic denied by the crossbar, or probably the apex. Oxborough hit the apex in the first half, and then Bradbury, you saw his disappointment. He was bouncing around in frustration. There's an offside. Carl Bradbury, he is a prolific scorer in matches against Hamilton Olympic. He scored 6 in his last 6. That was almost 7 in 7, right then and there.
And that's Bradbury at his best. Cuts inside, beautiful strike on target, and just hit the apex, as you said.
So Olympics bench going for another warm-up run again. They've got 2 changes left. Of course, Simon Mooney, suspected knee injury, had to come off in the early minutes. Jed Hornery was his replacement, so a couple of changes left. They've got Kane Treble there, Tom Stewart in terms of the attacking players, Joe Templey for the back line. So I think you'll expect maybe an attacking move, and then Pete McGuinness will wait to see what happens, whether he brings on Templey if Olympic get ahead or have to chase the game. But at the moment, we're no closer to knowing who's going to make up Northern New South Wales's places in the final 32.
Hey, CT, this is a real cup tie, isn't it? You can feel the tension in the air.
Yeah, as we've said, typically of this type of game, this is what it is, and both teams are desperate to go through to the next round. There's no doubt about it.
And I'm just loving the spectacle, being a neutral sitting on the fence, as you would, CT. Smudge, are you a bit nervous at all?
Why would I be, mate?
You know, being a former Magic coach, here's that ball in towards Majorowski.
Great header back.
Now Virgili, it falls, and again outside the back post.
See Johnny Medge's head back? He nodded that back for Bradbury. That was high quality.
So they've had some chances in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Broadmeadow Magic just getting a foothold.
I tend to agree with you there. I think Olympic had a large part of the play early in the second half, and Magic's just starting to get a bit of momentum now. Great turn by Cody Carroll.
Carl Bradbury was waiting there, and Majorowski.
Tyler Waller in full stretch there. He just hoping that one crept wide.
Still 0-0 in the match at Lyle Carr Oval. Heading towards the final 10 minutes here. There's less than 10 to go there. 2 all NPL clashes, and could they both be heading for extra time? Blake Green up and over the top. And the flick on attempted by... He's gone to ground, Jed Hornery. Hodges gets up, McGuinness. Up against Cody Carroll. And then Oxborough's pass has gone astray, and Jed Hornery is clutching at the mouth here as he copped a stray elbow from either Piddington or Griffiths over there.
Yeah, unsure. We haven't got replays in front of us, so...
Might have a quick little scan here on the YouTube app.
He looked genuinely like he copped one in the beak.
It's never a pleasant feeling, especially on a cold night. Right in the snoz. That's...
He's been good, hasn't he, Jed Hornery, since he's been on? Since he replaced
go.
Mooney. He's been a pest for the Magic defence.
Yeah, sure has, Smudge. And you mentioned earlier what a goer he is, and he's really getting in, putting himself on the line, etc. So, you know, no doubt he's putting his head in dangerous positions there just for the cause.
Yeah, may have been a little elbow there from Piddington. Just looking at the replay. Little bump.
Yeah, Piddington had his arm up trying to protect the ball, it looked like, and...
Certainly don't think there was any malice in it. It's just one of those ones that you get from time to time.
So to ask you a question, is there going to be a late winner, or are we going to extra time? What's your feel with about 10 to go?
My gut feeling is going to be a late winner.
Oh, he's called it. Are you going to call who for?
Well,
no.
one thing I will say is that neither team will want to go to extra time here. They want to get the job done. They're both desperate to win. So it doesn't mean you sit in and attack or you sit in and defend and just wait for things to come at you, and be cautious in your play. You can see both teams are attacking. They're looking to go forward, and they're certainly making some aggressive movements.
Matt Hull whips it in. Majorowski! He is simply made for these moments, John Majorowski. He's the magician tonight, and it's 2-1 to Broadmeadow with limited time remaining now.
Ladies and gentlemen, that goal was scored by John Majorowski, number 10, making the score Broadmeadow Magic 2, Hamilton Olympic 1.
Well, Smudge, you called for it. John Majorowski, what a player.
Yeah, I called for it about half an hour in. This game was set up for John Majorowski. Just the way the game was playing, you needed him in there. You needed a target man to hold the ball up. And I tell you what, he's so dangerous around the box. You know what, like we said, when he substituted on, this game was made for him to get the winner. We spoke about it, but it's not over yet.
Well, he loves the big occasions, doesn't he, guys? And he certainly has proven his point right now.
Well, here's Burtos, and Bits has to get the arms up. Of course, he's got the bandage on the head, so I'm not sure how good his eyesight is. And here we go. Maybe an issue for Mitch Oxborough, who's gone down. So is this a little bit of time wasting, or is he in trouble? No, he's cramping up.
Yeah, he had a few weeks off because he had a hamstring injury, so he's only just come back. He played a full game, or played about 60 minutes on the weekend against Adamstown, so his hamstring might be cramping up a little bit.
Well, Magic physio Tommy Russell hasn't been called on yet. He's about to walk onto the ground. And Stephen Laurie is going to allow the physio to come on, and he's just telling the Hamilton players that he will be adding this time on, as the tension is in the air.
Just going back to the goal, you could see the game starting to open up. You know, and was the ball? I haven't got replays. Matt Hull.
It was
Matt Hull. That ball He had a little bit of time, a little bit of space. Absolutely brilliant ball into Majerowski, but Majerowski does not miss in the 6-yard box, does he?
No, it certainly doesn't. And didn't he put it away well? Gave Tyler Warren absolutely zero chance to pick that out. Didn't have a chance, and that's what he's best at, Smudge. He really does perform in the big games, and this is one that Broadmeadow Magic definitely want to win.
Here it is, the corner kick for Olympic. So they're going to have to defend with 10 men for the moment. Broadmeadow Magic, Cooper's in there. They do get it away from danger. So as we've mentioned, it's been Broadmeadow Magic with the stranglehold over these matches. 5 of the last 6 derbies they've won. Paul Bitts gobbles that one up. Bit of push and shove. In the back play from Hornery on Griffiths. Oxborough wants to be brought back on. Stephen Laurie just making him wait. Here's Bailey. He's being allowed back on now. Charging after this one is Leo Bertos. Almost equalised minutes ago. That one just behind Reese Cooper. They look like they're about to clear the bench. Hamilton Olympic. It's going to be Joe Templey and Tom Stewart to come on. So Kane Treble, the hero from a couple of weeks ago against Western, he's going to be made to sit on the bench for the final minutes. As Reese Pappas looks up and he picks out Luke Vigili. And back goes Cody Lucas. Here's Oxborough. It's all about game management for him. And Broadmeadow now. He just looks up and tries to pick out Cale Bradbury. And Oxborough's gone down again, so you think he would have to leave the park now. Olympic have got some issues with cramp as well over on that far side. Looks as though it's Jacob Bailey stretching out. So Jake McGuinness and Jed Hornery leaving the park. And it's Joe Templey and Tom Stewart heading out there. Tom Stewart, he scored an FFA Cup goal last year against Cessnock in a 5-0 win.
Interesting move by McGuinness. I thought his son Jake had a quality game in the middle of the park. But also Jed Hornery coming on for Simon Mooney. He's been superb. In saying that, he has had a hamstring injury and he probably doesn't want to risk him for the weekend.
Yeah, so Peter McGuinness is a genius at the management of his players, and he knows exactly where their bodies are at and how they're feeling, and he'll make sure that he's not going to risk not just the game here, but also the coming weekend and weeks.
The attempted touch on from Cody Lucas. He's getting pulled, and he will go into the book, no doubt about it. Cody Lucas. The tug on Matt Hoole. So David Ifield is headed out there in the number 2. He's playing at left back. And Mitch Oxborough has left the park. Interesting here that Josh Piddington is pushing
very
right
surprised, very surprised. You just want to lock the game out. This is a cup final. Just want to lock the game out.
So Matt Hoole has Piddington and Majerowski, the target men there. And now Kyle Hodges attempting to stride forward. He picked out Justin Broadley. And Broadley goes to ground. And at the moment, if Magic do go down, if Olympic do go down, I'd say the difference tonight has been taking your chances when you're on top in the match. Magic have done that. Olympic just haven't to this point. It's not over yet, though.
Majerowski again.
Chests it down to Vigili. Does a spin, a pirouette. Trying to take it towards the corner. He's got Blake Green across there, just marshalling him towards the sideline. It's been another quality match of cup football tonight. Charlestown and Lambton, they're still at 0-0 at Lyle Oval. That one's in stoppage time. John Majerowski and Mitch Oxborough with the goals for Magic. Jed Hornery, the goal for Hamilton. And it's Majerowski's goal, which is proving so golden at the moment if you're a Magic fan. Here's Cody Carroll. Can Templey get back on the ball? He can't. Cal Bradbury, I think you remember a famous goal when he sent Magic through to the grand final a couple of years ago against Olympic when Hamilton were just pushing numbers forward. Is it going to be heartbreak again for Hamilton in one of these big clashes against Magic? Blake Green brings it down. Attempting to win a corner. Holding them off was Stewart. There's Bailey. Just labours on possession. Time slipping away slowly for Hamilton. Stewart with the last touch.
Smudge, have you seen any difference in intention from Broadmeadow Magic since the goal's gone in, or has it just been as normal?
Oh no, there's definitely been intention. They're focused to ride this game out.
Less than 90 seconds to go now in regulation time. Griffiths had a fistful of Stewart's shirt. Here's Joe Temperley. Youngster. Almost picks the pass. Little dink around in the box. Thomas Stewart, he's a tall lad and looks as though he's got the final touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that we do have some food left over at the canteen. So chicken burgers are now going for $5, roast beef and gravy rolls for $5, all pies and sausage rolls $2, hot dogs $2, sausage sandwiches
$2 for a hot dog at the CT. You get a quick snack on the way home, mate.
We're getting the full rundown here at Adamstown Oval from President Andrew Licata.
In saying that, you don't need one.
What is it, a balanced diet, Smudge? One hot dog in each hand?
That's probably been your best all year, mate.
That has. That's probably your best joke all year. We don't have to bring out the Benny Hill music for that one. So Cal Bradbury holding it up. Not going to take it to the corner here. Maybe they will now. And they're laid it off to the experienced John Majorowski. He only knew one way. Now he barrels.
That's a smart foul by John Majorowski. Very professional foul. Just allows Broadmeadow to drop back, set up their defensive structure.
And you flatten Jacob Bailey, which is no easy feat. Blake Green. Real test of Hamilton Olympics medal. Won 6 of their last 7. Magic have won 9 straight. So 2 informed sides meeting tonight. We've had a great spectacle. Cody Carroll. He was almost dispossessed and then brought it under control with a great outstretched boot.
You know what? Cody Carroll's been good when he's come on as well. I think the 2 substitutes have turned the game for Magic. Cody Carroll as well as John Majorowski obviously scoring the goal. Just give him a bit more life, a bit more enthusiasm, and a little bit more structure as well.
Well, we thought Carroll was going to go out and play on the left, but he's coming to the middle of the park. And certainly Majorowski, as expected, had a big impact.
Held up by Majorowski. So Magic, if they win this, they become Northern New South. Well, here is a pass looking for Blake Green. There was a bump on Stewart over on the far side. If Magic win this, they become the first side from Northern New South Wales to make it through to the round of 32 on 4 occasions. Edgeworth have done it 3 times. Magic 3 before tonight. Kyle Hodges striding forward. This could be their last chance, Hamilton Olympic.
Yeah, I'd like to see Kyle Hodges just move in the midfield a little bit, or one of their fullbacks, Pappas, just move in the midfield, get that overload in midfield just for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Or how long is there anyway?
Joe Temperley, we're in stoppage time now.
There'd have to be 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time.
And we had a few stoppages with cramps, etc. Jacob Bailey just bumped off balance. Probably could have had a free kick if he went to ground. Dinked it into Temperley. Couldn't return the favour to Bailey. Magic just slow play down. Tom Davies off the back of his head.
He's been very good today, hasn't he? He's been one of Olympics' best. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, he has for sure.
Set up the goal, Tom Davies. Carl Bradbury.
And this bloke has been very good as well for Magic.
6 in his last 6 against Olympic. But none tonight for Carl Bradbury, and that pass astray. He could have had one. He hit the post earlier in the half. That's a
great
pass
ball.
bulleted by Reece Pappas. Gee, he's got some skill, that young man.
I've just noticed Pappas has moved himself in the midfield.
Blake Green now. Spies a gap. Straight onto the head of Piddington. Now Kyle Hodges pushing forward. Powerful header away from Magic's goal by Broadley. Magic fans whistling for this one to be over. Here's Kyle Hodges. Couldn't quite beat Madrowski to the ball, but he won it back. Just a little flick on, and Magic. The clearance away.
So, boys, there's extra time in the other match between Charlestown and Lambton.
So they'll go to a final half an hour. You can catch it all here on Bar TV Sports, so it could be a late one at Lower Oval. But keep your eyes on this one first. Luke Virgili has nodded it over. Here we go. Last chance saloon here for Hamilton.
All hands on deck here for Olympic. That's where it's at.
Problem is just crowds.
Low and hard, and Kyle Hodges, well, he hasn't scored in his time at Hamilton Olympic, and that's not going to change.
No, I was going to say, the problem with all hands on deck, it just crowds the 18-yard box. So there's no space for people to head the ball.
Yeah, exactly. But wouldn't Hodges, I would have loved that to have gone in for the first one in 108 years for him.
He hasn't scored since 2012, Kyle Hodges, and that was when he was playing for Charlestown. So Paul Bitts. And Magic are history makers. Ruben Zadkovic's side become the first team in northern New South Wales to qualify for the round of 32 for the fourth time. And that is 5 derby wins in the last 6 matches for Broadmeadow Magic. They have had a stranglehold in this fixture of late. And it's heartbreak for Hamilton Olympic yet again in round 7. 2 round 7 matches in the cup, 2 defeats. And their wait for the round of 32 date will go on. Full time here at Adamstown Oval. It finishes Broadmeadow Magic 2, Hamilton Olympic 1. And Chris Turner, that one didn't disappoint tonight.
It really did not. It just had everything. It was end to end. We had goals, we had players, we had emotion, we had big crowd in, and we've had a lot of expectation about this one. But the end result is Broadmeadow Magic just outshades Hamilton Olympic, and in such a close ordeal. But when, you know what, in open play, particularly in the first half, you would say that Olympic were on top of the match in terms of goal scoring opportunities. But you know, the difference was Broadmeadow got some set pieces from some free kicks that were given away in and around the box for Olympic, and Oxborough was the man that was able to convert. So look, all in all, very, very entertaining match, and deserved winners just for Broadmeadow Magic.
And CT, it's all about taking your chances, and that is what was the difference tonight. Both sides had their moments on top in this one, but Magic took theirs when it counted most.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we were just talking about whether there was going to be a late goal or not, and that eventuated absolutely that way. So, you know, it certainly happened, and we ended up getting a good result there for Broadmeadow Magic.
Well, Damien Smith, you've got Broadmeadow skipper Josh Piddington with you.
Josh, you're pretty tall there, mate, on the... Mate, tough game. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously weren't at our best today. Probably didn't cherish the ball enough. Gave away some real easy ones. Spread the game too much. But I think in the end there we worked really hard, and yeah, we'll come away with the win. Round 32. Can't beat that.
Oh, mate, it's amazing. Just on the game, it was like a cup tie or like a cup final because a lot of stops started. Both teams are very desperate, very intent. A lot of fouls as well. Do you find that out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think today's game probably won on the back of a couple of mistakes. It wasn't through, you know, one team probably outplayed the other. We come away with 2 extra mistakes on the back of them.
And what about the old legend, Johnny Madrowski? We called it here when he came on. We said this game is just set up for Johnny Madge to come on and score the winner. What?
Yeah, 100%. That guy's been around long enough to know how to control himself in that situations. And yeah, the finish was second to none.
Mate, round of 32, you must be excited. Maybe another trip away with the boys, which is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's not the priority at the start of the season, but it's definitely something that you want to be a part of. So, we're stoked to be there again. And yeah, can't wait to see who we draw.
So, Pito, at this point in the season, or at this point in the competition, now you're on the verge of representing our region. What does it mean for the club?
Yeah, like I said, it's another opportunity for the club to be on the national stage. Showcase what we've got, whether it be home or away. We can show the world, Australia what Magic's made of.
Well, maybe it is the world, because we know there's people in Russia, locals watching here. And what a showcase you put on tonight. But look, for the rest of what it is going to be, you lead the group well, and you'll represent our region well, no doubt about it. And we wish you all the best.
Appreciate it, guys, and thanks for calling another match.
Mate, got one more question for you. Yeah, just with the Magic structure and shape, you've had 5 at the back, or 3 or 5 at the back. You went to a 4 at the back a few weeks ago, now you've gone back to a 5 at the back. Yep. What do you feel was a bit more balanced for the side?
I just think it's probably a better opportunity for us to play how we want to play, and how the game is evolving, that we can change our shape and we can adapt to it, rather than being reliant upon one single shape and how we play. Yeah. So. All right, mate. Congratulations. Go and enjoy with the boys, and have a few quiet ones on behalf of us. Well done, mate. Well done, bud.
Yeah, Smudge, he's got to go sing the song. Do you know the words? Do you give us
I used to know the words, mate. Many years ago.
Yeah.
I sung them after I won C2 the grand final with that goal in extra time. Was that goal in extra time, mate? Anyway.
That's another story for another day, Smudge.
Now, boys, this weekend we're actually got Hamilton again. Gee, we got Hamilton a bit, don't we? So we hear that Magic song ring out. They're playing Adamstown at Darling Street. Big opportunity for them to jump back on the horse and focus on the NPL. Although they'll be a little bit flat after this. You are always flat after a big defeat like this, aren't you?
Yeah, well, they've had a big week. They beat Edgeworth, one of the title contenders for the NPL. And they were in that game today. They could have went either way, that game today. It sort of just opened up towards the end. And I think McGuinness and the boys are going to be very disappointed. They got a few injuries out of that game, but they've got players to come back in. Me personally, they're in form at the moment. They'll pick up. They'll be bounced back against Adamstown on the weekend. It's a home game as well, and I think they'll get the job done.
You know what? The ups and downs of football, beating Edgeworth, who totally expects we did them to go on with it. They win that. As in Olympic win that, they get that one and they lose tonight. This is where the value of Peter McGuinness comes into play, because he'll reset their heads to their winning competition ways, and they've really come on well, and expect them to do well in the coming weeks.
Well, we won't take up any more of your time, because you guys have got a very important match to watch. Charlestown playing Lambton, so we'll leave you with that one tonight. That one's at 0-0. That one's heading into extra time. Will it be Charlestown making it to the round of 32 for the first time, or Lambton doing it for a second time? You'll find out probably in the next half an hour. So we'll let you head to that one. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night, 6:30 for the NPL show, and then on Sunday for Hamilton and Adamstown. But great to have your company. Broadmeadow 2-1 over Hamilton tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lost wallet here for Dean Petit. Dean, can you return me please his wallet? Thank you.